Gemini 3.6, Qwen 3.8, and GLM 5.2 just went through the same 5 tests: cost, coding benchmarks, speed, context limits, and deployment, to settle which one you should actually build on. The strangest finding in the research is that Qwen 3.8 posts the best independent benchmark score of the 3, and there's still no published price, speed number, or deployment detail for it anywhere. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one to trust with real production work, and which one to watch from a distance until the gaps get filled in. Pick the expensive model for a workflow running all day, and the bill catches up with you fast. Gemini 3.6 charges $7.50 per million output tokens, community reported. GLM 5.2 comes in at $4.29 per million output tokens, the artificial analysis median across providers. Qwen 3.8 has no published pricing anywhere in the research, full stop. Run the math at scale and the gap gets real. At 10 million output tokens a month, GLM 5.2 costs roughly $42.90. That's about half what Gemini 3.6 would charge for the same volume. GLM 5.2 wins this test clean. That's Gemini 3.60, Qwen 3.80, GLM 5.2 won. My name is Brian, and I'm an AI expert who plays with these tools for 12 hours a day so you don't have to. A benchmark score only matters if it holds up outside the vendor's own slide deck. On the independent Goldie Bench suite, Qwen 3.8 scores 8.1 out of 10 across 45 tasks. GLM 5.2 scores 7.77 across 47 tasks. On the shared tasks both models ran, Qwen 3.8 beats GLM 5.2 30-12 head-to-head on an independent test nobody paid for. And on the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index, GLM 5.2 edges Gemini 3.6 53-50. But the cleanest, most independent measurement in this whole test is the Goldie Bench head-to-head, and that one goes to Qwen 3.8. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Qwen 3.8 wins this test. Gemini 3.60, Qwen 3.8 won, GLM 5.2 won. GLM 5.2 fires back with a terminal bench 2.1 score of 81%, community reported. No comparable number exists for Gemini or Qwen. A slow model breaks your flow the second you're chaining calls in an agent loop. Gemini 3.6 puts up roughly 304 tokens per second, community reported. GLM 5.2 runs at 129.8 tokens per second, the median, though it swings as high as 220.8 depending on the provider you hit. Qwen 3.8 has no speed figure published at all. Gemini 3.6 takes this one outright. Gemini 3.6 won, Qwen 3.8 won, GLM 5.2 won. That's more than double Gemini's throughput over GLM 5.2's median number, and nothing to compare against for Qwen. Stick with me, because the last 4 tests are where this decision actually flips. Hit an output ceiling mid-generation, and you're stitching the rest of the file back together yourself. Call that a tie. Qwen 3.8, again, no published figure. The real separation is max output. Gemini 3.6 caps out around 65,000 tokens. GLM 5.2 goes to 128,000, nearly double. For a long generation or a full file rewrite, that ceiling is the difference between one clean pass and a stitched together mess. GLM 5.2 wins this test. On context window, Gemini 3.6 and GLM 5.2 both land around 1 million tokens. Gemini's number, community reported, GLM's confirmed. Gemini 3.6 won, Qwen 3.8 won, GLM 5.2 2. The best model on paper doesn't help if you can't run it where your team actually works. GLM 5.2 ships under an MIT license, fully open, fully self-hostable. Gemini 3.6 is closed, API only through Google. Qwen 3.8, once more, no deployment detail in the research. Modality tells a different story. Gemini 3.6 supports text, image, video, audio, and PDF input, community reported. The widest range of the three by a mile, neither GLM 5.2 nor Qwen 3.8 has a published modality breakdown to compare against. Gemini wins the modality half, but GLM 5.2's open license is the bigger structural advantage, since it removes vendor lock-in completely. GLM 5.2 takes the overall test. Final score: Gemini 3.6 1, Qwen 3.8 1, GLM 5.2 3. Gemini 3.6 wins on raw speed at roughly 304 tokens per second, and it's the only one of the three with confirmed multimodal input across text, image, video, audio, and PDF. The trade-off is a closed license and the highest confirmed price of the three, at $7.50 per million output tokens. Qwen 3.8 wins the single cleanest independent benchmark in this comparison, beating GLM 5.2 30-12 head-to-head on shared Goldie bench tasks. But there's no published price, no speed number, and no deployment detail anywhere in the research, so that benchmark win comes with real uncertainty attached. Now, Qwen 3.8 wins the single cleanest independent benchmark in this comparison, beating GLM 5.2 30-12 head-to-head on shared Goldie bench tasks. But there's no published price, no speed number, and no deployment detail anywhere in the research, so that benchmark win comes with real uncertainty attached. Gemini 3.6 wins on raw speed, at roughly 304 tokens per second, and it's the only one of the three with confirmed multimodal input across text, image, video, audio, and PDF. The trade-off is a closed license and the highest confirmed price of the three, at $7.50 per million output tokens. Qwen 3.8 wins the single cleanest independent benchmark in this comparison, beating GLM 5.2 30-12 head-to-head on shared Goldie bench tasks. But there's no published price, no speed number, and no deployment detail anywhere in the research, so that benchmark win comes with real uncertainty attached. GLM 5.2 wins cost, context, and output limits, and deployment outright. It's the cheapest at $4.29 per million output tokens. It doubles Gemini's max. One thing the docs never spell out will quietly cost you if you miss it. If this helped, the next breakdown on the channel goes even deeper.